Hey everyone, today we're looking at the Marvel Legends Stiltman BAF Wave Into the Spiderverse Prowler. A quick look at the box. He's got the Spiderverse logo on the front, as well as the top. Down the sides, the Prowler character artwork. Onto the back, more of the same artwork as well as the character descriptions with the other figures in the wave. Onto the outside reflected artwork. So let's go ahead and get them open. Out of the box, the action figure is laid out in the tray. He comes with a briefcase, as well as the Stiltman BAF right arm that also has an interchangeable right fist. The Stiltman BAF right arm comes casted in entirely metallic looking plastic, no paint details. Interesting sculpt for the gauntlet on the lower part of his right arm, and the right arm has the gripping hand. This can be changed out for a right fist, and here is the right arm with the fist on. The next accessory is a light brown briefcase. Cool details for the handle, as well as the clasp painted in gold. And you can pop open this briefcase to show a lot of $100 bills inside. These $100 bills can be removed as a separate piece. So that's a really cool feature hidden inside the briefcase. And of course the Prowler holds the briefcase well. Taking a closer look at the sculpt of the figure itself, his head's casted in purple plastic. Very sharp sculpting and paint for the black and white details on his mask. Also nice sculpting down the sides and the back of his mask to show the folds in the fabric. Moving on to his cape, it's casted in a dark navy plastic. Again, some nice sculpting and details for the folds in the fabric. And behind his head, he's got a distinctive tree-pointed collar. The inside of the cape as well as his collar is painted in a nice shade of purple. And moving on to the rest of the figure, he's casted in mostly a sort of dark shade of indigo. It's a little bit strange that the plastic on the rest of the figure doesn't really match up with the dark navy tone of the cape. The purple logo as well as the green accents on the side of his torso are sharply applied with no bleeding at all. Down the sides of his arms, you can see the same green accents as well as the sculpting to show the folds in the fabric. Now my one major gripe about this sculpt is that even though they've given him nice detail for the folds in the fabric down the sleeve, the sleeves and the upper arms are just sculpted too thick, and that means he ends up having some sort of gorilla arms that tend to splay out, and there's no way of tucking them in closer to his body for a more relaxed vanilla pose. And to me, the coolest part of his outfit has gotta be his gauntlets. They look to be casted in a black plastic, with very interesting details on the rims of his gauntlets, as well as rivets. And these are painted in silver on the top and the bottom. A very interesting tube detail that can also pass off as pistons, with very striking bright pink highlights. I'm also equally impressed with his hands. Again, a lot of striking detail in the sculpt. For the panels on top of his fingers, as well as the back of his hand. More rivets over here on the back of his hand. And a very nice touch of gold paint for the rivets on his knuckles. Really impressive stuff. And the paint goes all the way down his fingers as well. Onto his lower torso, he's got a very nice belt, silver paint for his buckles, some pouches on the side. Now removing his cape to take a better look at the back of his torso. His cape is actually attached to his back with a small peg on the back. So to remove his cape, he gotta first pop his head off, then unpeg the cape from that hole in his back. And looking down his back, he's got the same green accents on the sides of his outfit, as well as a couple more details on his belt. Moving down his legs, nice muscle definition, and then on his lower legs, again some nice detail to show the fabric folds and gathers just above his boot. His boots have an equally nice sculpt comparable to his gauntlets. I really love the paneling and the detail on the side. It's mostly cast in the black plastic. Again, very striking highlights for the pink on the sides of his ankle, as well as the lining on the sides of his shoe. Another hit of silver paint on the top of his boot. So overall, I also really liked the boots a lot. So here's a quick side-by-side of the new Prowler with the old Marvel Legends Prowler from the Lizard BAF Wave. As you can see, he's taller and more faithful to the design in the Spiderverse movie, with very distinct design elements in his gauntlets and his boots, while the old Prowler is mostly green, with a larger cape and bigger clawed hands. For articulation, his head is on a ball hinge, so he goes 360. Very little tilt right or left. He can look down pretty well, as well as look up a little bit, mostly hindered by the sculpting of the fabric on the back of his head. He's got swivel hinge shoulders that go all the way around, as well as out pretty far, beyond 90 degrees. Swivel at the bicep for 360. Double hinge at the elbow, very good range. Swivel hinge at the wrist for 360. However, the hinge articulation for the wrist is a bit strange. The hinge is articulated up as well as down. And we normally see this sort of articulation for weapon holding hands. For the Prowler, since he has claws, his wrist should be articulated in as well as out instead. He's got a hinged torso for a little bit of ab crunch forward, and quite a lot backward. However, that breaks up the sculpt a little bit. Swivel at the waist, so 360. Ball joint at the hips, so he can actually do a very good split, as well as forward and backward that much. Upper thigh swivel for 360. Double hinge knees, so very good range beyond 90 degrees as well. And I have to point out that his knees as well as his elbows are now given the pinless joint system, where the pins are not being shown. He's got a swivel at the calf for 360, so that's welcome. And I really like the very generous ankle tilt upwards, as well as downwards. And also very nice ankle pivot outwards, as well as inwards. So on top of the standard Marvel Legends articulation scheme, he's got calf swivels and a very generous range of articulation in his ankles, so you can get him into very deep, stable, dynamic poses. Size-wise, he stands at 6.5 inches or about 16.5 centimeters. For size comparisons, here he is with the rest of the Spiderverse movie characters, with Mary Jane, Pizza Spider-Man, and Scarlet Spider, a couple of other Marvel Legends, and some G.I. Joe classified series. So in summary, just two things that I don't like about this figure. First is his gorilla arms, and second is the weird choice for articulation in his wrists. Besides that, maybe we could have gotten an extra pair of interchangeable clawed hands. Overall, I really like this Prowler. He's got striking and distinct stylized elements like his gauntlets and boots. His sculpt and paint are definitely on point, and his cape is well painted and doesn't get in the way of posing. So if you really like the Spider-Verse movie, this one is a great way to complete the cast. Please like and share this video, let me know your comments and subscribe to my channel for more toy reviews. Thanks for watching and take care.